What's up, everybody? Here we go. Evening Hour Live, episode 64. You gotta be kidding me. Grab a drink, folks. Let's do this. Happy Friday. All right. There we go. My Baroque Festival vinyl. What's up, everybody? Cardone here. Evening Hour Live, episode 64. I can't believe I've been doing this many episodes. Happy Friday, everybody. Cheers. Cool. We got lots of people in the house already. We got the fun crew in the crowd tonight. Who do we got? We got Corey, Dan, William, Peter, Fallon, Ashworth, Amanda, Dan P. So, yeah, Dan P., if you're going to come to Wits End, or anybody that comes, starting next week, I usually do 7 to 9. Now it's 8 to 10, and not only is it magic, it's burlesque and magic. I'm actually curating a weekly burlesque and variety show. It's not always going to be just burlesque. It'll be me doing mingling, and then emceeing burlesque dancers, belly dancers, jugglers, contortionists. It's going to be amazing. So, yeah. Cool. What are you guys drinking? Bourbon. We got decaf Earl Grey. William. That's a good one. I actually like decaf tea at night. I am on the water. That's what I'm doing tonight. I have coffee here, but I'm drinking water now. What's up? Let me know how it sounds. Let me know how it's looking. What else? I had so many things to start with tonight. Oh my god. Well, first of all, I'd like to show you the prize I'm giving away tonight. Right here. I found these today. I had a few damaged ones right here. These were $25 when they were for sale. I have a very few left, and these ones, they're a little bit damaged. They're a little, like, wrinkly, just because they're a little older now. So I'm going to be giving one of these away tonight. These are an amazing poster. It's one of my events I'm most proud of, I would say. Really, no joke. This was a 4-month project to get ready for this. So I'm going to be giving away one of these, and I'll give you the code number in a few. If you're new to the channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notify. Even though I kind of figured out the notify bell is a bunch of BS. If you are shadow banned, which technically you're shadow banned if you are under 1,000. Seriously, there's a button that makes it so your algorithm doesn't spread. So, yeah, if you're new, hit those buttons. It helps. I'm trying to get to 1,000 to monetize. In the meantime, if you're one of the donors that actually donates money to the show, I mean, great. Thank you. Lilith Malone, they just donated $66.60. So, grazie. And Peter, yes, that was an amazing night. I will never forget that night for the rest of my life. That was one of the most... I don't even know how to describe the Nude Witch review night. It was a lot of stress to make it perfect. I knew it had to be perfect. There was no room for error. And I worked hard, everybody delivered the goods, and it was perfect. So, oh, thank you, Helen. Yes, that was, I'm going to do it again. It's so funny when that happened, everybody's like, what, are you going to do it again soon? And I was like, no, I don't think those kind of things should happen all the time. Just like magic, what makes a miracle is its rarity. And to me, those kind of events, you shouldn't do them all the time. So yeah, I will eventually. There's a rumor I'm working on one for this coming late summer, fall. Quiet, don't tell anybody. There's also some really cool Toilet Boys stuff in the works I'm not allowed to talk about yet. And my other band that's basically a new band that got put on hiatus because of COVID, also known as Opulence, I believe there's going to be a hard release. Something is coming out. Yeah. So lots of stuff in the works. I've been working so much on projects that I'm getting a little cuckoo birds. But I like that. That's where I thrive. That's where I feel good, when I'm living on the edge and creating every day. And I've been creating every day. Not only that, I'm creating content for this show every day. And tonight's show's awesome. We're going to get into Existentialism, and we're going to go way into the Absurdist stuff. You come from Oregon. Yes. We had people come from all over the world for that event. When I first got it ready, the Nude Witch review, I didn't realize people were going to start, booking tickets from out of state and out of country. When that happened, I really just was flattered and knew it had to be perfect. I take all my projects dead serious. So, yeah, that would be great. What else? Oh, yeah. Monday. Being busy is medicine, especially if you're our types, right? I know you like to be busy, so. Monday, I got another guest. This will be... Why do I have a fuzzy in my mouth? It'll be my third guest on the show. I'm only having guests on the show that are friends. Why do I have fuzzies in my mouth? It's from this chair. Look at this chair. See, it's one big fuzz ball. Sometimes there's random fuzzies. Yeah, so the first guest I had was Stuart Palm. Very close friend, an amazing performer, hypnotist, and artist that I'm working on my playing cards with. The second guest was Marcus Monroe, another fellow performer who, world-class entertainer, good friend. I could chat with him for hours. Well, my third guest, he's a world-class performer. Oh, yeah. He's also a very good friend of mine. And when we're all dead, these people, the guy that's going to be on my show on Monday, people are going to still be talking about him. No joke. I'll show you a little teaser of what's to come. Check it out.
All this expert needs is a skilled hand and a girl with guts.
This is a guy that throws real knives, machetes, axes at a beautifully, scantily clad woman on stage. What could be better than that?
The Guinness Book of World Records lists him as the world's fastest knife thrower. 10 knives in 4.2 seconds.
My first guest tonight is the world's fastest knife thrower.
He's gonna put a blindfold on? This is crazy.
And keep throwing those knives. We'll be right back.
Okay, folks, we have the one and only, the great Throdini. He's going to be on Monday. I could talk with him for hours and hours. Yes. So, he's a very good friend. I actually saw his first performance. I was in the audience. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about knife throwing. We're going to be talking about show business. He's the first knife thrower in like 80 years to perform in the Cuban circus. He's been all over the world. He has 42 or 3 world records now. He also has the world's largest serial killer collection right now. No joke. And I've seen it. It's in his house. It's right there. And so, yeah. So if you have any questions that you want me to ask, you should message me. Everybody knows how to get a hold of me. Go to Instagram, Cardone Magic. Boom, right in, send me a message. I mean, I have my own questions. I hang out with the guy, and I don't ask him too many detailed questions about knife throwing, because we're talking about food and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be really cool. That's going to be Monday. Oh, somebody asked, just to be confirming, Thursday nights at Wits, and you'll be performing, not just emceeing. Correct. Out of a 2-hour show, the actual formal stuff is going to just happen here and there with me emceeing. The rest of it is me going table to table to table, giving everybody a private magic show. So if you show up, I'm going to do my close-up sleight of hand show just for you and whoever you're with. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just flattered that my friends who are famous are coming on my show and hanging out with us, and it's a really great deal. Okay, so if you would like to win this poster, I'll roll it up and send it to you right now. First, you got to be in here in the chat, which most of you are. Second, right now in the chat box, write 666. Why not? And again, if anybody knows this, 666 means Emperor Nero. So let me see in there, right? 666. Oh, I answer my messages. All of them. Yeah, so right in there, 666. Yep, there you go. William Nemitz in there. I hope you win, guys. I really, this is a cool poster. If I won this, I'd be psyched. It came out so well. Very cool. Anywho, we got William Ashworth, Darla. Yeah, come on in, folks. All you shy folk, chime in. The more you chat, the more points you get. You know what? If you get 1,000 points and spend them in the store, you might get one of these. I can't guarantee it. But there's other cool posters like this that I am sending out. So, do it. Oh, wow, we got it cool. Yep, William's checking his... William, you have a lot of points. You do. I think William might have... Let's see. You might have enough to order a poster. All right, you're halfway there. There are people that have been gambling and getting lucky, and I saw the slot machine game. If you get like 3 of a kind, you get a lot of points. You put exclamation point slots right beside it, space, how many points you're wagering. Yeah, and anybody new watching the show, you will see all this crazy point crap going on. Oh, look, Fallon has 1,543 points. Fallon, you can order a poster. Just order one. I'm not going to guarantee it's this one. It might be. I have a lot of weird posters here I'm trying to space out, but I guarantee it'll be something cool. Yeah, come on in. We got a great crowd in here. All right, a couple more things and we're going to start the chat. Yeah. Let's start. So, again, this is a live show. Really live. And we got a great group in here in the chat. Ask questions, okay? Throw it out there. Put it in the chat. Let me know if something ain't making sense. Some of this doesn't make sense to me either. I am a student. I always put a little caveat emptor, buyer beware. I am a student of philosophy. I am not an expert. I am learning too. And I wanted to say, my process of learning philosophy in the last week has been a little nutso. And the reason it's a little nutso is because as I thought, hey, I want to learn this. So what am I going to do? I'll start at the beginning. We'll go to the ancients. So I started with Epicurus and Socrates and Plato, but I quickly jumped ahead to Seneca. And I've been really in that realm of the Stoics for a while, but it's triggered me to start looking at these other philosophers, and it is a big, giant hole. If you go in one, it opens another door, and it's hard because I want to learn it all really quick, and you can't. So I jumped ahead to Friedrich Nietzsche recently. Well, not recently, and it has triggered, Fallon just lost 666 points. Yikes. That's a bitch. All right. Wow. But you still have 877 points, so I jumped that round, and Nietzsche led to the existentialists like Sartre, and it started going like this, and my head's like, ah. And we've got 0. Who's got 0? What, you lost all your points? So I really, if I ever met like a philosophy a professor, I would say to him, what should I do? Should I really just forget everything and focus on one guy or not? Probably not. Because I think when you do philosophy in college, you do an overview and then you start to focus. So that's kind of what I've been doing, is I've been grasping the concepts of all these major movements and then digging into them one at a time. And it's fun because I'm finding things I disagree with, things that have made my brain go in different directions that I've never done before. And the biggest one in the last 6 months has been determinism. I'm the kind of guy that doesn't want to believe in deterministic anything. I want it to be that I'm the boss and I do have moments of complete free choice. But the more I read, the more I research, the more I watch lectures from neuroscientists, scientists who are also like Sam Harris. He's a neuroscientist philosopher. Even they will say, I don't see much in the realm of free will. And I'm not seeing it either. I definitely, the more I think about everything that comes through my mind, something came before it, and something came before that, and something came before that. And so when I'm down to this choice of red M&M or green M&M, I really want to believe that I can just say, today I'm going to be red, tomorrow I'm going to be green. Right now, I'm just going to make it up as I go along. Even that has determined things coming before it. It's not starting at an empty moment. I have all of my past history in my brain. So when I'm picking those M&Ms, now, there is things involved. But the crazy part that I found is this, and I'm doing more research on. They found that when you do pick let's say I'm like, all right, I'm going to choose a red M&M. Well, they figured out that you already knew that before, and your brain puts it in this weird box and lets you dance around this other thing called free will before you take the thing that's already been in the box and apply it. Which, again, goes to the deterministic thing. So, free choice is likely a range. Yes! Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, it's a range. Interesting. Ooh, I gotta write that down. Fallon, I'm glad you're in this show. I'm gonna write down the word free choice and range with a question mark. I'm gonna dig into that. So, all right. The other day on Wednesday, I did the show on Friedrich Nietzsche, right? Mr. Nietzsche. And, hey, Cassius, what's up, buddy? I think you're going to like tonight if you can watch this. Some deep thoughts. So I've been reading Nietzsche and on my own and doing a lot of research, and he opened the door to these other guys for me. And we're going to talk about the existentialistic movements. And, well, first of all, let's define existentialism. The world intrinsically has no objective meaning. And this is similar to the nihilists. And we're going to break up nihilism too tonight. But through a combo of free will, awareness, and personal and some sort of responsibility, we can and should create our own subjective meaning in life. Right? Okay. The problem I have there is the word free will, but we'll get to that. I'm digging around that notion. And that's Jean-Paul Sartre, who also wrote the play. Anybody know? No Exit. Cool play. I've actually seen it done. And if my mom is watching, my mother stage managed that play at Penn State University, and it did not get good reviews. It's a weird play. So that's existentialism, and let's talk about... Why am I folding this? I'm like folding it. Let's talk about this for a second, of where there's some nuance to this. So let's go way back to the Greeks. Let's go to Plato and Aristotle, and not Socrates. Let's leave out Socrates for a second. Socrates, aka Socrates, Lazarus. It is a weird play. No Exit. It's like an allegory to meaningless hell kind of a thing. The Greeks, Plato and Aristotle, they thought everything was born with an essence of sorts. And a good description of that was, let's say you have a knife. Of that knife, what is the essence of the knife? So one way to do it is to get rid of things and see if it's still a knife. So if we get rid of the blade and we just have the handle, would you call that a knife? Could it be used as a knife? No. But if you get rid of the handle and you just have the blade, is that a knife? Yes. You can still stab somebody, shave, and, cut a piece of bread with it. So the essence, ooh, God, the fold was what's this? The fold was yes, it was predetermined. It was. If I sit there, okay, let's pause for a second. I'll get back to this. Excellent little thing. So I'm sitting here, and for some reason, I folded the paper. Now, why did I do that? It wasn't for a random reason. There was a reason why I did that. Why didn't I fold the other paper? It didn't come from nowhere. It came from... My mind might have wandered for a second about something else that triggered it, and my fingers did this as to make it nice and neat. Or I was overcompensating for something, and I nervously folded it. I don't know. I could sit there and figure it out eventually. So, essence. Everything has an essence. Everything has something that they're just meant to do. It's what it is. It's core value. And the human essence would be your purpose. What is your purpose? Everybody's got one, right? Well, the existentialists, they thought you're not born with one. You got to make one. Again, I have a problem with that, but we'll get into that. It's not no handle, it's a shiv. Yes. Still a knife, though. I mean, you could still technically use it as a knife. But yes, it's a dirty little... Okay, you're making me laugh tonight. Yeah, I mean, Sartre thought we're not born with some hardwired purpose as humans. Existence precedes essence. That is the existentialistic view of the whole thing. Now, I'm going to do one thing here. I'm going to skip ahead here. Well, no, I'm not going to skip ahead. I'm not going to get into the absurdists yet, because there's some weird little detail differences between the absurdists and those guys. Okay, here it is. Condemned to be free. Interesting. So you can, in the existentialistic movement, you can follow a government, a church, a political party, right? But the problem is they're just like you. And they also weren't born with a purpose, and they had to find their purpose too. So if you follow that, it's still not yours. And they are also like you. So there's a little bit of a problem when you go that route, which I think the absurdists have a great way to look at that. Yet laughter is where the absurdists come into, okay? Interesting notion. So the meaning of life is given, you give it the meaning. And in this movement that Sartre came up with, they have a thing called bad faith. Bad faith is a refusal to accept the absurd. Now we get to talk about what absurd means by these guys. Okay, this is where it gets wacky. Absurdism, and I'm going to define absurd because Sartre and Camus, Albert Camus, that guy, they thought absurd is searching for answers in a meaningless world, in an answerless world. Now, I'm going to try not to jump ahead because I've done a lot of thinking about that concept. And for me, there's a problem there too. Because what if we evolved to do that, even though there's not? Which is kind of what they're saying. Which is what the absurdists eventually say. All right, so bad faith means the refusal to accept that notion. They say that's bad faith. So the people that refuse to admit that they're busy looking for answers and there really aren't any, it's called bad faith in this movement. By saying we are born without a nature, doesn't that make us special? This is my question. I wrote down some of my questions in between, meaning animals are born. We will all say spiders are supposed to make webs and catch flies and eat them and then make baby spiders and then die. They lay eggs, right? That's their nature. That's what they do. But saying that don't have it, we're different than every single thing on earth then because we're born empty, to me that doesn't make sense. You're making us special, but you're giving us purpose by doing that, in my opinion. And let me know if that makes sense. Okay. The man of bad faith will attempt to say that he isn't really what his acts have seemed to have made him. An example would be somebody who's like, yeah, I used to steal packs of cigarettes once in a while, but I'm not a thief. Okay, that's a little weird. So this is how the bad faith mentality operates. Is one of the Sartre things. Now, let's take that concept now and now shift it to the absurdists. Because it's very similar, if not almost the same, but it to me is it has a little bit more in it, in its simplicity. If that makes any sense. Okay. Albert Camus. The literal meaning of life is whatever you're doing that prevents you from killing yourself. I love that. Wow. Okay. A conflict, this is also Camus. A conflict occurs when people search for meaning and find the universe is cold and chaotic and utterly devoid of any meaning at all. Sounds like H.P. Lovecraft stuff. It is this contradiction between our mind's search for meaning and the reality of this nature, right? So I was thinking about that. I was like, my God, what if... Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going to get to that, Fallon, in 1 second. So what if we're born with... We evolved to look for meaning. It's not what if, we did. We know this for a fact. The neuroscientists know it. The biological, evolutionary biologists know this. We evolved to figure things out because it helps us survive. It became a tool to survive. I've been talking about this the whole time. This is neurotheology. This is our brain evolving to believe in invisible deities and look for meaning in things. Babies do it when just as they're born. They're looking for some sort of meaning in things. This is our neocortex. This is our advanced brain. And so we evolved to do this thing where we're inventing these deities in the sky and meanings in things. Yet, in the grand scheme of things, it's very H.P. Lovecraft. The world is this massive thing. The universe is massive. We are literally dust. I'm going to read some comments here because we're going to get way deep. Victor, oh, there we go. Okay. Frankl, Viktor Frankl, I'll look him up. Pattern-seeking mammals, yes. So, yeah, we're looking for these patterns. It helps us survive. But here's the little extra oomph. Not only are we looking for patterns, we do this thing where we put a hidden agent behind it. So we'll see something, and our brain will fantasize creatively and put something behind it. An example would be, and sometimes we're right in our fantasy. Look at Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. I do believe he fantasized that one. It was just a whimsy idea that ended up being pretty serious. We did it with lightning. There's a man throwing it. I think his name's Thor. But so we do it to that. We make these gods. How does that make us survive better? Well, it takes the pressure out of things. Now, the absurdists had words for these, and we're going to get to that. So I do believe we evolved to do this meaning search, even though there's no meaning, which is kind of funny. Now, here's what the absurdist Camus thought. Once you realize that we are free to the point of shock, like, wow, there's no meaning. I can do whatever I want. Holy moly. Well, they had 3 options for dealing with the absurd. And when I say the absurd, I mean the definition I gave earlier. The absurd notion that we're looking for meaning in a meaningless void. So number 1, suicide. That's it. Kill yourself. You can't deal with that? There you go. There's the option. Number 2. Oh, and let me fill that in. Camus thought that probably wasn't a great idea to kill yourself because of 2 things. Being alive is kind of a random, wild miracle, right? And when I use the word miracle, I mean no divinity. I'm not using it in that sense. For me, a miracle is a bunch of random things that happen for what I will call good. And I choose to call it a miracle because of its rarity. Waiting for Godot. We'll get to that. Yeah. I like the absurdist playwrights. Samuel Beckett's, I love him. I like Endgame better than Godot, but we'll talk in a second. So he thought killing yourself was probably dumb. A, it makes things more absurd. And B, you know what? You're a miracle of sorts, so you might as well roll with it. Like I always say, I wrote an essay the other day about us being dust. And my way of looking at it is, I'm dust. That's it. I'm an ant. I'm a dust. I'm nothing. But I get to realize I'm dust. I get to go, oh my God, I'm dust. Oh, wow. And then I'm dead. To me, that's what life is. I get this 1 second realization of me being dust, and I get to interpret that how I want. So that was suicide, number one. Number two, philosophical suicide. God, I love that word. Philosophical suicide is believing in God, believing in a religion, joining a group, joining this, joining that, and following the rules all the way. And so that is that way. Because now you don't have to deal with making your own choices of how you want to interpret things. Somebody else is doing it for you. And like the existentialists who say, if you do that, they're just like you. They're a bunch of bums just like you. They're a bunch of dust like you, searching for meaning. So now you're putting it in their hands. It's kind of like why I never liked astrology. Now, I like tarot cards and some other weird divination tools, but I never liked astrology because I think astrology works because you're reading it. So whatever you read is going to influence your day. It doesn't matter that the stars are involved or not. If some lady in an office at a newspaper writes, this week, Libras will have a great week, and I read that, I'll probably notice all the good things that week. I choose not to do that because I don't want my week dictated by the lady in the office writing the newspaper. I could choose that. I personally don't. So that's just me. And number three, dealing with absurdity. Every rose has a thorn. You can just embrace the absurd. We're free. Things are messed up. People suffer. People die. It's all just nonsense. But let's do our best to give it some sort of something. What? Oh, wait, what's this? There's so much good stuff in here. We're all just dust in the wind, dude. Yeah? I mean, well, I did see it. Yeah, I did see the Penn and Teller. Now, I have a problem with Penn and Teller. I'm a magician. I'm a skeptic, just like them. But I don't think they understand the higher concept of magic. They think real magic's not real, astrology's not real. They don't buy into it, and I think it's because they don't understand how I'm looking at it. I'm coming from a different approach. And they might think it's silly, or I don't know. I do see Penn and Teller wearing a really big good guy badge. And I never liked that. I like them. I think their show's great. I like the show Bullshit, but it's a great show. But I do think they, being, quote, wizards, are missing a couple key components. Okay. Now, I want to bring up a thing. Let's go back to the existentialistic notions of nihilism, because that's where it came from. It all came from the Nietzsche stuff, and, life has no meaning or value. That's it. That's the nihilistic thing, right? The problem with nihilism is it stops there. It just goes, it just stops. It's like, hey, there's no meaning. Great. Now what? I don't know. Figure it out. The notion of God is dead, which Nietzsche proclaimed. All right, he's dead. Now what? I don't know. You gonna be God? No. You gonna be God? No. Who's God? I don't know. Who's in charge? It makes people go nuts. It seems like it's just all in vain at that point, and that's the sad part. But there's two types of nihilism. Let's talk. There's passive nihilism and active nihilism. And this is where it gets neat. And then we're going to compare Camus to Sartre, because this is where the neat stuff happens. So passive nihilism is the will to nothingness. No meaning in anything. So let's try and separate ourselves from our wills and desires to reduce suffering. What's that sound like? A little bit of stoicism? It's like your desires, it sounds like Buddhism, It's got a little Buddhism, a little Stoicism. I prefer Stoicism to Buddhism. It's a little more realistic. But it does sound like that. Yeah, they definitely have a good guy badge educating people to stay away from psychics and stuff. Now, there are psychics that are just scamming people. But guess what? You can tell those people that the psychic's a scam and they're still going to buy into it. That's why I think they have... That's the problem I have with the modern atheistic movement. It's... if everybody could just get over the fact there's no God, we'd have a better world. I don't buy into that ever. That's never going to happen. It's a silly notion. So, passive nihilism. Let's get over our desires to reduce the suffering in this world that doesn't really mean much. Now we have active nihilism, and this is where the existentialistic stuff pops in. Active nihilism, to actively destroy our old, fake, false values and begin constructing our own subjective beliefs and make up some meaning here, folks. That would be active nihilism. I kind of like that. That's kind of what I did when I was a little kid. I actively destroyed my fake and false values. The ones I were taught were real, I realized weren't. And then it made me wake up and start noticing the other ones. And I took them out myself. I didn't need any help. So the absurdists, let's talk about this. They engage in what makes them happy. You know, figuring out, what makes them laugh and smile and have a meaningful life and make projects that have meaning that they like and write plays, write poems, make something, create something. That's what I'm always telling people to do. If someone's depressed, I assume the reason why they're depressed is they're juggling with all of these things we're talking about. But they don't know how to talk about these things. They don't have words to discuss these subtle little nuances that go on in here. That's what philosophy is. When I woke up this morning, I read an essay by Seneca. And it was a really long one. It was one of his letters. And, active sounds like a search for truth. Interesting. Yeah. And Rick Sherman, I don't know if you're in the house. I'm going to talk about something my friend mentioned in a second. But Seneca was writing about how wisdom has nothing to do with clever or creative. Like the types that make things and come up with inventing things, that is not wisdom. That is smarts, knowledge, but it's not wisdom about how this operates. It was a really long letter, but really, it was really interesting. Nihilism, no meaning, that's it. Active nihilism, similar to the absurdist, but create an essence in life that might live on. The absurdist, and this is the fun one, when they're dead, that's it. It's all done. It doesn't live on. I kind of like that one. It's kind of how I always use this story. I told the story on Wednesday about me and the rabbi and me telling him how I taught my kids that to understand what a God is like teaching an ant what a DVD player is. It ain't gonna happen. It's absurd to even try to understand, which is why absurdism to me is kind of makes sense. It's like we can understand little bits and pieces, but there's definitely going to be a wall that we hit. We would like to think that we're great. God, we can send a rocket to Mars. We can understand a little bit of how a black hole works. But my goodness, when we're getting into quantum, Seneca wrote the essay on wisdom as opposed to inventing. It's absurd to think that we're going to get what's going on. We're literally evolved primates. Yeah, we can leave Earth. You know, if you look at it, these little bugs, they figured out how to go eep, 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 eep from the, here's the Earth, they go eep, eep, and they think they're so great. And they go, there's a little rock here, and they go eep to the rock and back. And they have these things where they can see kind of far, but not really that far. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna figure this out. Really? I don't think so. It just doesn't. It's wishful thinking on my end that they're gonna get the big picture. Both of these philosophies have in them meaninglessness, and we can create. But the value of meaning is more important. The essence, this is me writing now, this is my notes. The essence of human is to find the meaning. Pursuit of meaning is also a meaning. There's meaning right there. To look for meaning, well, that means something. Now, my buddy Rick Sherman the other night blew my mind, and he said, the idea of something having a meaning, that's a human concept. Nothing else on this earth goes, what's the meaning of that? It doesn't exist. Rocks don't do it. Squirrels don't do it. Now, apes, simians, they don't do it the way we do it, but they might go, hey, what caused that acorn to fall? But that's it. They don't actually go, but what does that acorn falling mean to me? They don't do that. We do that. Why? Because we evolved to, is what it would seem. We evolved to do that for a survival technique. And this is where my problem with some of this stuff is it's not taking the neuroscience into the equation. We have a lot of research now on how this chemical computer works. And it really is a chemical computer. And and again, when I meet people that are like the creationist types, yes, I remember as a kid watching this preacher talk about how sad it was that atheists, how sad it must be to be an atheist. But I don't think, oh, this is really interesting. I'm going to get to your stuff, Fallon. I just don't think they'll never step into my shoes and see that I do experience the transcendental. I do experience wonder, awe. I do recognize beauty that I can't understand, and I say that it's something I can't understand, but it makes me feel a certain way. And I don't need a deity, and I prefer the word deity to God, because God has a lot of people define it as an energy source or something. I don't like the word deity because it sounds like a guy in the sky. Fallon says, maybe we can leave the Earth to low orbit, but there are microbes that go from planet to planet. Intelligence and survival are not mutually exclusive. Interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. Viruses, they have an intelligence to them, don't they? They have a way they operate. I always thought when people talk about aliens, they're always thinking in the term of, you know, little green men with eyes and fingers. And I'm like, okay, that little man with eyes and a nose and fingers looks like an ape, an evolved ape. So you're saying that on other planets, there were apes that evolved? We don't have any other animals on Earth that have eyes and a nose and little hands like us, do we? No, they come from apes. So I always thought if that's real and there are little green men, they're not from other worlds. They're us. That's it. They're us. Maybe they're from here and they evolved faster, or they're from the future, or they're from another dimension. I don't know. There's so many other ways to look at it. It's not one thing, you know. I was thinking about myself. I was like, well, why? What is my purpose? What is my nature? Of course, I'm reading this and trying to apply it to myself, and I'm like, well, I'm definitely hardwired to obsessively compulse over work. I've been like that my whole life. I was nurtured to do that too, which helped. But I think even without the nurture, I had it in me. Because I remember many times being very little and in my room alone doing the same things I'm doing right now. Hustling projects, making my own reality. If I saw a toy that I wanted on TV that was too expensive, or I couldn't have it, or Christmas was far away and Santa Claus wasn't going to be here for months, I would make it. I would make a copy of it out of cardboard. That's just how I am. My deterministic view, how can that fit into all of this? Well, there's no meaning. We evolved to find meaning. I am part of this equation. I evolved to find meaning in the world. It's just my chemicals, my wiring is more conducive to doing it on my own. Other people's wiring is more conducive to following the number 2 thing the Absurdist said, and that is philosophical suicide. I just think that's it. That's why I don't push my views on anybody. Why would I do that? This is the part that blows my mind with theism and monotheism specifically, is a singularity truth. It's my way or the highway. To me, that's fascism. It's a form of philosophical spiritual fascism that I don't like. Never did. It irritates me, and it's sad and dangerous. Look what's going on in the Middle East right now. Need I say more? 2 monotheistic religions that came from the same exact place, from the same people, from the same ethnic group, even though they say there's 2 different ethnic groups involved. If you go back far enough, it was one group of people fighting over it's tied into modern things, but it's also tied into this ancient tradition stuff too. And it's just it causes trouble. And I always thought it's so much better. Now, look at the ancients. They were polytheistic mostly. I remember reading something recently about atheism, and there's 2 types. There's mono-atheists and polytheistic atheists, meaning, where did you become an atheist at what moment? I'm coming from a monotheistic religious background of our culture, which Nietzsche said taints everything. It's the shadow of it. But my atheism came from that, whereas the early, quote, atheists, and I'll quote them because back then they didn't call it atheism necessarily, pre-Darwin, but they came from a polytheistic movement where there were lots of different ways to look at things. It wasn't my way or the highway. Very different. Interesting. Fighting for, way more than 500 years. Put another 0 there. Oh, no, well, not another 0, but for a long time. Amanda says, I've had much more meaningful and understanding experiences when I let go of certain false beliefs. Yeah, true. Me too. I think a lot of people do, but I won't say everybody. Because I do know that, mind blown. So today I mentioned, out of the absurdists, 3 ways to deal with it. 1, kill yourself. 2, philosophical suicide, which is go to the God thing right away. Or 3, accept it and just start making something happen. Well, I figured out something. Where does that exist as 3 choices? And it's very clear 3 choices. Think about this. Where on earth right now can you find that little thing happening on a micro level, but very crystal clear. A, B, or C. I'll tell you. Jail. Jail, you're being forced to deal with this. That's why jail's interesting. You're punishing somebody by making them sit and do what we're doing right now. They're like, all right, I'm locked in a cage now. What's my meaning? Now, I always joke around and say if I was locked in a cage for the rest of my life, I'd probably kill myself. I might. I don't know. I'm claustrophobic. And I know for a fact that if you put me in a cage, I would go nuts. So look at jail. People kill themselves right away. Epstein didn't kill himself, by the way. Anyway, so we got that. We got number 2, philosophical suicide. How many people in jail go straight to the God thing? It's easy. It's a great way to deal with it. I watched a gangster, a very famous gangster, talk about how he found God in jail, and it made sense. He was losing his mind. You're locked in a solitary confinement. And, well, yes. Satanism's concept is to pull back the camera and find the third side, right? So, yeah, this gangster found God in jail out of solitary confinement where you're literally losing your mind, and someone gave him a Bible, and he's like, I'm going to read the Bible. Dude, if somebody gave me the Bible in solitary confinement, take a guess what I'm going to read. I'm going to read the Bible again. I've read it before, but I would read it again and study it. Why? Because there's nothing else to do. Now, if I had other books, I'd read them, but I'm just saying, if someone just gave me a Bible, I'd be, all right, I'm going to study the Bible and rip it apart again. And 3, make something work. So you throw me in jail for life. What am I going to do? I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to be the guy that makes the library here the best library in the world. Or I'm going to be the guy in jail that is the funmeister. I'm the guy that's going to be literally the court jester in the prison system and make everybody have some fun here. I'll do magic tricks and tell jokes. Something. I'll make my own purpose. Now, I would like to think that's the choice I would go for. But think about that. Jail. It really, it's forcing somebody to deal with themselves. And it's an amazing thing to think about someone getting locked in a cage forever. Forever. What does that mean? What does your brain do? There you go. Damien Eccles turned to Crowley after years of solitary. Yeah. Solitary confinement is... I do better than you think being in confinement? Me? I don't know. I'd like to think so. A desire to live in jail. Well, there's going to jail and being like, you're locked up for 7 years or 10 years. But then there's life in prison. You know, that's it. You're never going to get out. Yeah, Damien Eccles went into the occult in jail, which I'm amazed they let him under the condition, you know. But, I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, if I was in jail, I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. I'd be reading philosophy books. Being stuck in a room with someone all day is worse than being locked up alone. That's hilarious. And Peter's like, someone beat me to. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I've never been in jail. The closest I've been to jail is some of my escape acts that I do. And a little side note, my whole life, I would never say I was claustrophobic. And then I started doing escapes. And I like doing real ones, the ones that are actually hard to do, where you do have some risk of not making it out. And I've become extremely claustrophobic since that time. And my doctors are like, wait, you get locked in a can filled with water with bolts put on it, and that doesn't bug you out? And my answer is, well, it does bug me out, but I have a process I'm going to go through when I'm in there. I know what I'm doing. I do step A, B, C, D, and I just keep calm and stick to the plan, and I get out. Same thing with the rope escape I do. I let the audience tie me up in 50 feet of rope with a pair of real handcuffs. They're allowed to tie me up however they want. I have a technique that I'm doing while they're tying me up. But being in a roller coaster where they put or an airplane or somewhere where I really am at their mercy, I can't do the bit where I'm like, all right, I'm going to do A, B. I can't do that. So I start to panic. And I think the escaping made it worse because of that. And I always think about like, wow, a prison situation, would I be doing like the Escape from Alcatraz guys where I'm like, the minute I'm in, I'm like, okay, there's, just start figuring out how to make my escape. I mean, I probably would do that. I do know vaudeville at San Quentin. Well, I do know they don't let magic trick books in a lot of prisons. You're learning deception. They don't like that. They don't like sleight of hand. They don't like magicians learning sleight of hand, or prisoners learning sleight of hand. I actually had an opportunity to do magic lessons at a prison close to here, and they nixed the idea. So, yeah, I don't know how well that would go over. It might. Wow. I mean, this is making my head go. You were in the drunk takeover. So I've never been cuffed by a police officer with the intention of me being like arrested like that. It never happened. I've never been arrested. I've been cuffed by a cop, so I can. They were like, if I cuff you, can you get out of these? And I was like, yeah. I've had that many times. They don't like seeing how fast I can pick a pair of handcuffs. So when, yeah, I don't like airplanes. I don't like the seats. I don't like the people. I don't like much about airplane rides. I don't like the process. I don't like the X-ray machine. I don't like following rules most of the time. I like following the rules I made, and the rules that other people make, I question a lot. Just my nature. I've been like that my whole life. But, oh, here we go. What's this? Now, let's talk about some playwrights. Anybody from, this is the last bit we're going to get into, because I really like this. I went to a theater college. I have my degree is in acting performance, but we did do a lot of theater history stuff. And I'm a fan of Samuel Beckett, specifically the play Endgame. Huge fan of this play. It is very nihilistic, but with an absurdist slant. It's one, I don't want to ruin it. There's definitely videos of it being done, but one of the characters is blind in a wheelchair and can't stand up. The other character can't sit down or bend his knees. They're in a basement. Their parents are in garbage cans. And throughout the play, you realize the world is a wasteland. And you're watching these people, quote, suffer in a very absurd manner. Love it. I sent a message to one of my friends. In college, there was a director that found and figured out that the play Endgame basically... oh, wow, this is interesting. I'm going to read this in a second. So in the play, he realized that the play is actually like 30 plays. Each so many lines has a beginning, middle, and end. So you can take the play, break it into 30 bits, and each one of those has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So what he did was he broke it up, how he saw it was doing that, numbered them, and then had the actors rehearse it out of order. He began, do scene number 16, and they go, 16, cool, do it. Do scene number 4, cool, do it. And they would do it, and the first time that it was run in order was opening night. I didn't get to see that. I got to see a rehearsal. I have very faint memories of that time of my life. It was such a busy, crazy, booze-induced time, especially my first year of college, that a lot of these stories are like jumbled, but I do remember that being really interesting. There's another play, and I was going to show it tonight, but you can all look this up. Samuel Beckett, Breath. It's about a minute long. It's technically one of the shortest plays on earth. It's a kind of a genius little play with a lot in it, and I don't want to ruin it. There's some really deep stuff on it. But the play, Breath, by Samuel Beckett, was included in the very famous Broadway show called O Calcutta, which was famous for being pretty envelope-pushing theater for the time. It was a smash hit. It featured lots of nudity and sex, and they took the play Breath and added a little bit of okay, so in the play Breath, the stage is covered in rubbish, and it's very specific. It says rubbish with nothing standing up on end, so low laying. So they interpreted it for the play. They were going to use this 1 minute play in this larger play with naked bodies. That was the rubbish. Samuel Beckett didn't like that. And I think he tried to stop it but couldn't, because it's an interpretation of the stage directions. But it is an arty-farty play, but if it's done well, all of these things can really affect you. That's the thing about art fart, you know? I don't like arty-farty for the sake of arty-farty. I don't. I went to a snobby art school. I've hung out with lots of snobby art people in the art world. I was in a snobby art rock band called The Voluptuous Horrors of Karen Black. And we were being hired by art galleries to do our thing. And I mean snobby ones like Deitch Gallery and all these guys. But I will say, all of these art movements, if done well, really can have some serious impact. The other playwrights, Ionesco, Eugene Ionesco, he's from Romania, but I think he spent a lot of time in other places. He wrote the play Rhinoceros, a piece of absurdist genius. The film, I'm actually friends with the director of that film was my friend Tom Horrigan, who passed away. He even said the film didn't come out so well. I used to ask him about it, and he didn't like talking about it. I was curious because he got to direct Zero Mostel and Gene Wilder. I'd be like, dude, you directed Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel? My gods. And he was like, I don't want to talk about it. So it didn't go over well. So what's this about the delinquent medical bill? Someone got locked up. This chat is entertaining as hell tonight. They arrested you for a medical bill debt? Oh my God. Dude, it's nuts how the arrest thing... Dude, I had a buddy who had a bunch of parking tickets he didn't even know about that he had because they were getting mailed to another address. And a cop pulled him over for something silly. And he's like, oh, I actually have to arrest you now. And he's like, what? I'm on the way to pick my kids up and you're going to arrest me for parking tickets? Yeah, our legal system needs an overhaul. It's really lame that they waste time and energy for things like that. Yeah, it's a little bit of Sheriff of Nottingham. Oh, you know Voluptuous Horror of Karen Black. Well, I played in that band for 7 years. And I wrote an entire album that was never released. I own the music. You actually know some of the songs. Some of the songs that you hear were written for that project. They're my music. I like them as they are. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that whole snobby band. No, I wouldn't say the band is snobby. I did like the band. I do think that band has a lot of value. Yeah, it definitely did. And I really enjoyed playing in that band. I had some creative beef and business beef. More business. I could do a whole show on that one day. But I do like the music. It was punk rock and metal. I mean, it was heavy stuff. Yeah, well, I met my band Toilet Boys through Karen Black. I was going to see Karen Black play, and Toilet Boys were the opening band. I know, nuts. And at one moment in my life, I was actually playing in both bands at once. We did a show. I got to be in both bands in the same night, which is wild. Gramercy Theater. It was the party. The party was paid for and thrown by Mark Jacobs, and it was for the Squeezebox movie premiere. Crazy. Wild. Well, we're going to wrap this up. You know why? It's Friday. Where's my water? Dude, it's Friday night. Did you guys have fun tonight? Because dude, this is my favorite kind of stuff to talk about. All I'm trying to do is sort out some things in my head, throw some ideas out, you guys throw ideas back at me, which make me go more into my stuff. And I just hope you guys do your own research too. I love this stuff. I do. Peter said they showed one of Karen Black's performance films in performance art class. Oh, wow. Yeah, and you're Artie Farty College. Yeah, I mean, she's definitely prolific in the art world, that's for sure. Oh, you like my intro song. Grazie. It's funny, that's me. I wrote those songs, and it's me playing bass and stuff, and I forgot how to play some of them, so whenever it's playing, I'll grab my bass and play along for fun. Because what is my favorite punk band? Ramones. I don't even have to think about that. Clear as day. The Ramones are to me, they're a culmination of nihilism, absurdism, a little the existentialist stuff. I mean, it's all in that band. And they're the audio format of that. They changed my life. They changed millions of people's lives. And I will say the Ramones are the most influential group of musicians who ever walked the face of the earth. More people wanted to become musicians and more people not only became musicians, but found meaning, like we're talking about tonight, because of the Ramones. It gave them something to do. It made me want to do the DIY. You know, hearing about these dudes from Queens sing about sniffing glue made me want to go write songs about things I liked too. And yes, I did sniff glue in high school and middle school. I definitely sniffed glue. Dan, thank you. Fallon, everybody. Oh, we're going to do the drawing. All right, last call, folks. Write 666 in the box. And I'm going to roll a die. And someone is going to win one of these posters. Yeah, these were $25 when I had them printed. And it's going to be free right now to somebody in my chat. Thank you, William. Dude, that's it, William. That's all dude, you made me happy by writing that. That's all I'm asking. Go do your own stuff, right? That's what this is. Like, I hope I trigger you to go deeper into your own void of your mind. We got Jason, Steven, Bill. Oh, Bill Yon, you're in here. What up, buddy? Let me move my little minis. Oh, yeah, let me show you. My hand cam tonight has some Goblinko minis in it. We used to do that too, Amanda. That was one of my favorite things. Fallon's in here. Amanda's in here. Although the glue I used to sniff was airplane cement. These are minis sculpted by J.C. Faircloud in England. The company, the designer, and the game is Goblinko Dungeon Degenerates. And these minis are exquisite. They're some of my favorite ones. So let's move these guys over. Boop. Okay. Let's get out my Boardgasm dice tray. And as my shows get bigger with a crowd, the prizes are going to get more extreme. So one of these fancy dice trays, eventually, maybe when I hit to the 1,000 mark, I'll do a dice tray. Okay, let's see here. How many people we got? Let's see here. Oh, yeah. We got a nice group tonight. All right. Where are... Oh, no. I'm going to roll this one. For some reason, these ones been doing it. Let's see. Which number's Peter? Peter, you're number 6 on this list. So I think Peter has won 3 times. The first prize he still hasn't received because it got lost in the mail. And I'm in the process of getting another one for you because you need to have that. But you got the ones after that, which is weird. Yeah, sniffing glue is not good, folks, just so you know. We also used to breathe in butane and gasoline. Crazy. where I grew up, it was hard to find other things, so. All right, I'm going to put the cam on and roll this dice, and somebody's going to win an awesome poster. Here we go. Let's do it. Yeah, Peter's like, I'm going to win. Let's see. On the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Number 10. Wow. Dan P. And Dan, you want to get... people win here more than once. Dan P. is number 10 on my list. You won again, Dan. Wow, that's crazy. Oh, not that. Where are we? There we go. Yeah, Dan, so this is the second win for you, I believe. You're in here, Dan, eh? So, Dan, send me your address again. Even though I have it, send it again. Because I get a million messages a day. I'm going to be honest. I've been really busy. And all of my online businesses, my Instagram, my YouTube, the Facebooks, and all this stuff, I get a lot of messages now. It's just like kind of a nonstop thing. And I get a little jumbled. So if anybody ever messages me and I miss it or whatever, forgive me. I'm trying to upkeep on all this stuff. So Dan P, there you go. You won this actual poster. I will roll it up and send it to you. So, yeah, there you go. I love this show. I love giving away prizes. I like the crowd in here. I like the subject. And folks, Monday, we have an awesome show. Tell your friends. Make sure you set your reminders. If you're new to this channel, folks, and you're having fun, look, hey, donations are cool. I love getting them. I literally do this full time, and it is my way of making money at this point. But the donations that you're giving me go into the show. They do. I'm just upgrading the show as we go along. I know you won last time, so there you go. You're number 10 on the list today. So the donations are cool. If people want to donate, hallelujah. Please. I like that. But if you can't donate, that's fine. Tell your friends, tell your family, hit the like, hit the subscribe, keep coming back. And I really enjoyed this. Oh, somebody's got, Jason, you got 1,000 points. So if you've got 700 points, you can redeem them. All the links are in my description of the show. And if you do 1,000, you'll get a poster. I'm not guaranteeing it's one of these posters. I have a lot of posters that you're going to get one of them. Thank you, everybody. Really, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. Read philosophy. It's easy. Most of them aren't that hard. I will say Nietzsche is a little tricky. Some of these the modern guys are tricky. But the ancients, not that tricky. If you jump into Seneca and Marcus Aurelius and some of these ancients, it's pretty easy. And Seneca right now has been my favorite for a while. So, all right, I'm going to party. It's Friday night, and I'll see you Monday. It's going to be me and Throdini. After I do the outro, I'm going to show the Throdini trailer again. Why? Because it's really fun. This is episode 64. Wow. So Monday's episode 65. This is wild. Yeah, everybody subscribe, hit the notify, tell your friends. Look, I'm shadow banned right now. Why? Because I'm under 1,000 subscribers. They don't push the algorithm much. And it's very hard to get there. So everybody that's in here, thank you. I am going to jump to my end credits. And yeah, thank you, Fallon. Everybody in the house, party on, Wayne. Monday, episode 65. Throdini in the house.
All this expert needs is a skilled hand and a girl with guts.
This is a guy that throws real knives, machetes, axes at a beautifully, scantily clad woman on stage. What could be better than that?
The Guinness Book of World Records lists him as the world's fastest knife thrower. 10 knives in 4.2 seconds.
My first guest tonight is the world's fastest knife thrower.
He's gonna put a blindfold on? This is crazy.
And keep throwing those knives. We'll be right back.